Welcome to the Bitcoin Boomer Show. Here's your host, the Bitcoin Boomer himself, Gary Leland.
Hello, welcome to the Bitcoin Boomer Show. I'm your host, Gary Leland, known as the Bitcoin Boomer. And that's why this show is called the Bitcoin Boomer Show, because I'm the Bitcoin Boomer. We talk about Bitcoin, I'm a boomer. Can you kind of put it together and see what's going on? We're the Bitcoin Boomer Show. Now, this show really is for anyone who is interested in Bitcoin or needs to know about Bitcoin should be watching this show. So I'll say this several times probably during this show, but please, if you know anyone who's interested in Bitcoin, please tell them about this show. We're not selling Bitcoin, we're just educating Bitcoin. My lovely producer, Stephanie, how are we doing today? How are your holidays?
Holidays were great. Just took it easy, spent time with family, and hung out with friends. So all in all, a really good end of the year 2023.
Well, are you ready to start season 4 in our first show of 2024?
I'm so ready. So season 4, 2024, ready to go.
Well, we're gonna start it out with a blast today. That's for sure. We have Santos Hernandez. Santos is, I want to get this, what Santos says about himself, how he describes himself. He describes himself as a passionate Bitcoin educator, a builder, and leader. Santos is very involved in the world of Bitcoin, building things with Bitcoin, building ZBD, which I pronounce most of the time incorrectly. He's a Lightning developer, a Nostr developer. He knows Bitcoin and he knows how to build stuff for Bitcoin. So this is going to be a pretty good conversation today with him. And we're going to talk about what he's doing with BitBlock Boom. As you know, my conference is BitBlock Boom. We're celebrating our 7th year in Dallas this year, and Santos is heading up our workshops on Friday. We have Lightning workshops and Nostr workshops, and he's heading that up and basically running all that. And for the first time ever at BitBlock Boom, we're doing what's normally called a hackathon, but we are changing it up a little bit and calling it a build-a-thon, because we're not hacking anything. We're only building at the build-a-thon. So if you are experienced with hackathons, you may want to check out bitblockboom.com or check out our build-a-thon. There's our page for it. You can follow the link there. You can register and sign up. And it's going to be quite an experience. This will be a new addition to BitBlock Boom and a great addition. So we're going to be right back after this word from our sponsor with Santos, and we'll start going over our normal Bitcoin conversation plus what Santos is doing himself in the world of Bitcoin, Lightning, and Nostr. So we'll see you right back in a minute. And welcome back to the show. We are going to have a great season this season, our first show of the season, as I said earlier. And for our first show of the season, I brought on a great guest for you. We're going to talk about Bitcoin. We're going to talk about Lightning. We're going to talk about Nostr. We're going to talk about BitBlock Boom. We're going to talk about a lot of things. Our guest today is Santos Hernandez. Santos, thanks for joining me on the show today. We're excited to have you on. I hope you're doing well.
I'm doing great, Gary. Thank you very much. Excited and honored to be here.
I don't know about the honor, but I'm excited to have you myself and honored on this end for sure. I got to know you, I guess, last year we met in Austin. We'd met before that you informed me, but I apologize to you. I can't remember that. It was at a conference. But I remember you were helping me set up something on my computer. And I can't even remember what it was you were helping me set up, but maybe it was my Nostr page or something like that. And since then, we've got to know each other.
Yeah.
Remember that over at the Commons? I think I needed to set up a VPN, and I was having problems with my VPN or something because I was trying to get my Start 9 going. And if you're an old boomer, you probably don't even know what I'm talking about here. So we'll skip off of that for a second. But before we go into anything else, Santos, how about give us a short bio? Who is Santos Hernandez? Tell us about yourself.
Yeah, thanks, Gary. Nostr Relay was an issue with your VPN and Nostr Relay, so we got that all set up. About me, I'm just some guy on the internet. So currently, I work at ZBD as a VP of Business Intelligence Education, something that's really something I'm passionate about. So I ended up building an educational platform and love participating within hackathons. I grew up in Phoenix, Arizona, and I love to build the things that I want to see in the world. So I spend a lot of time doing that. And yeah, married, also have a wife named Heidi, and that's a bit about me.
Well, Heidi has been helping us with the
Yeah,
social
I guess.
media and doing a great job at that. I'm sure that you're giving that's. I'm sure I'm getting the team effort there, though. With Heidi, so I can ask you questions and get bounce off ideas off of you. How'd you actually find out about Bitcoin? What got you into this world of BTC?
So when I was like 11, I started building custom sites like web applications, spinning up custom game servers, databases with private server files, and I ended up like making my first open source contribution when I was like 12. And from there, I got into esports, and I was also very interested in kind of like the P2P scene, so peer to peer scene. And I saw torrents end up doing quite well against some very large um, companies, such as like Hollywood record label companies. It was a big problem. Same for like software companies for these particular companies, but for people around the world, it was doing like an enormous amount of good by being able to get access to this media as well as software. And I saw that this particular technology and this group of technologists ended up winning against these really large, powerful, kind of industries and entities. So when I saw Bitcoin, the first time I heard about it was in 2010, and in 2010, I didn't think much of it. My friend was mining it and selling it. Maybe it's 2011, somewhere between 2010 and 2011, and I didn't think anything of it. I was more focused on esports at that time, and then I ended up going and working in the banking industry for some time. I worked in student loans. I kind of figured out that student loan debt may not put you in the best situation, and then ended up getting a job at Bank of America following that. Same with, I learned all of the credit and deposit products, and then I ended up, learning quite a lot about the credit card industry and some of the issues with the credit card debt. So I saw all these different potential debt traps, and I happened to. This was 2014 now. My brother and I were at dinner one night, and he tells me, "Bro, you got to look into Bitcoin." And I'm like, "Well, I've heard of that, but like, what is it exactly?" He's like, "Okay, I'm not the one to explain it to you. Go look up Bitcoin Jesus," and that was Andreas Antonopoulos. And I ended up going down a rabbit hole, watching his YouTube videos, seminars, and eventually read his book when the Internet of Money came out. And I was convinced that this was a decentralized peer-to-peer payments network. I didn't really think of it as like a more sound money at that time. I just saw it as a better potential alternative to the banking system, which I knew quite a bit about by that point. And yeah, I just kept learning about it until I eventually just like quit my job and ended up like going all in on like self study. Yeah, that's pretty much how I ended up learning about Bitcoin in the first place.
What year is that you went all in? I mean, when did you say, okay, this is because I think you know almost everybody who's a super strong Bitcoin or a bull or really into it, they get to that point sooner or later. They're going, man, this is all I want to do. If I can find a job doing this for a living, I would have my dream job. Because I get told that so often from people who find Bitcoin jobs at BitBlock Boom. So what year was that you decided to go all in, and how long was that from the time you really, not that you heard about Bitcoin, but that you understood Bitcoin? What was that time period?
Yeah, I would say between 2014 and 2016, I was learning about Bitcoin as a technology. In 2016, after watching many of Andreas's talks and having them resonate with me and my experiences, And kind of these hunches that I had, um, I ended up quitting my job in April of 2016, officially at Bank of America. Note about me, I dropped out of school basically when I was like 14. I ended up, spending a lot of time on the internet, learning how to program, learning like graphic design tools like Adobe, Photoshop in that era, creating like little signature graphics and working with people online and things, and then starting to compete in esports. I actually reached top 1% of 3 different games that I played. So I was like pretty fascinated with this stuff, and then had a massive community online through forums and video games as well. So I actually knew a lot of other kind of like wares, like hacking scene that I would frequent and chat with people on. So for me, like I had this interest and I had this good job at Bank of America, and a lot of people thought I was crazy. But I ended up quitting my job. I had already bought Bitcoin and had enough Bitcoin to be able to quit my job, then to focus on self study. Because when I started learning about Satoshi, it was more like, wow, this person, it could be a group of people, of course, but this person, I assumed, had multidisciplinary knowledge. And I was thinking, well, how is that possible? And having grown up on the internet and spent a lot of time on the internet, I was like, well, you can basically find almost anything. Like, what if I were to like really crack the nut on how to learn effectively and then focus on learning any discipline that I'm interested in? So that's effectively what I did. I was browsing Reddit one day. Serendipitously, I discovered this course called Learning How to Learn on one of the like threads. And I took the course. It's a 4-week course, about like an hour to 2 hours per week, nothing too crazy, but it changed my life because it essentially explained how to learn most effectively and some of the best habits that you can form, the best things that you can do for memory and recall and usage. So after I took that course, I had a really good understanding of how to learn effectively online. So I moved to Khan Academy and I learned, I relearned mathematics from like kindergarten to multivariate calculus. And I just kind of kept going from there. So I went all in, learned to code. From there, I started over at Amex, and then I ended up fast forwarding, seeing ZBD with CSGO infuse.
We'll be right back after this word from our sponsor with more on Santos. See you in a minute. And welcome back. Today we have Santos Hernandez on the show. Santos, sorry for joining us. When we went to the commercial break, you were talking about ZBD, and I'm really not the most educated person on this. And we had mentioned that you and I had a meeting Monday, I think, with Rockstar Developer about BitBlock Boom, about the workshops and stuff. And then you mentioned then that since I was having problems with Nostr, I needed to get on ZBD. So I want to go into ZBD and tell me about ZBD and what is it? What does it do since you're involved with that project?
Yeah, ZBD has 2 main parts to it. So we have a consumer app that you can download on the App Store, and that will get you an account that has a Lightning address, a Nostr identifier, or NIPO5 identifier if you're in the Nostr scene. It has a social feed that's built on top of Nostr as well. And we aim to make things really simple for the end user. So if you're like hopping in, just trying to make a quick note and post it or broadcast it, we make that really simple and easy to do. Same with Lightning. So we have this app where you can, explore social experiences, make notes, get zapped, have everything you need to zap, receive zaps, and then you can also earn Bitcoin through the application. So instead of needing to think about Bitcoin as necessarily like an investment, you can spend time either playing games. You can find a list of games in our app where you can install and receive sats for playing it, time spent. And then from there, you can also complete surveys, buy gift cards and such, also for sats back. So those are some of the things that you can do in the ZBD app. On the other side of things, we have business to business as well. So we work with developers, like game developers, who will put Bitcoin into their games, and we provide everything they need to be able to do that. The platform to be able to do so, technically speaking, and then developer support and education documentation as well. So that's pretty much what we do. We're like a fintech for the gaming industry, though we have some other partners like Fountain that also uses ZBD API to do some really impressive things with payment splitting. It's really quite mind-blowing what you can do with programmable money. So we try to make that easy and reliable and simple for our partners too. That's kind of our ethos without compromising on user experience or quality.
Well, now I just downloaded the app, so I'm going to go messing around with that after we get through it here. But if I want to, I'm always having problems with my Nostr account. I really am. Would this make it an easier interface for me if I go through this? If I go through ZBD?
Yes.
Well, there's the short of it.
Definitely.
Well,
make it essentially, you can just sign up for an account like a normal experience. So with Nostr, it can be a bit challenging in the beginning, especially because you have to now manage key pairs. You have to understand like what those key pairs are used for, to be able to sign notes to prove that, hey, I'm the owner of this post. I actually made it. I know the secret, and then to send it to a bunch of other computers that's on the Nostr network to be able to store it and then retrieve it later. With ZBD, we focus on just like, hey, you sign up with an email, or you can use like your Google account, Apple, etc., and then get an account, sign up, visit the social tab, and be able to begin making posts without even knowing what those things are. So we really try to abstract a lot of the technical complexity away from our users. So that way we make the technology accessible for everyone. That was our approach with Lightning, and it worked out quite well. And this is our approach with Nostr too. There are other clients that are great for users that have more experience with Nostr and the understanding of the technologies that Nostr uses, like Damus and Amethyst. But if you're like a new user just wanting to, explore Nostr, and you don't want to deal with the complexity and kind of knowledge, esoteric knowledge that you need to get started and make use of it effectively, you can download the ZBD app, and we'll make sure you're taken care of. You can even send Bitcoin, zap people without even having any Bitcoin itself for watching an ad. So now you can start sending Bitcoin and rewarding content that you like without even needing Bitcoin itself. So that's another really cool experience within the ZBD app.
So since I already have a Nostr handle, would I still keep my same handle? Or is that just a Damus handle? See, I'm confused on the whole thing.
That's a great question. You would not keep the same handle that like at X, Y, and Z, for example, at BitBlockBoom and such. That would be specific to the Damus app. You would have like an npub, which would be kind of like your open network ID. You can also have a NIPO5, which is what looks like an email. You can see it on screen here in the middle right, Nostr ID. Looks like that. Looks just like an email. And that can also point to your npub so people know how to find you. Beside that, it would be more of like a specific client or app identifier. So we give all of our users something similar, a gamer tag, which you can think of as a username that you can find people on ZBD. And we also do provide you the ability to share your npub as well. But these would be two different key pairs. So they would be two different identities, if you will.
I'd have one identity that I created already, and then I'd have a whole nother identity that are not going to match up. If I go to, sounds like I should have gone to ZBD to begin with, if I had been smart. And real quick, because we do have a lot of boomers on the show that listen to this show, I think, since we're the Bitcoin Boomer Show, they don't realize it's for Bitcoin, and I just happen to be a boomer. It's not for boomers. Real quickly, in less than 3 minutes, we've been talking about this, but I know that a lot of people are not going to know what Nostr is. Could you give us a definition of Nostr real quick? Because we should have probably done this to begin with. But if people are sitting here watching this going, what in the hell is he talking about? We've been talking about a client to use to make it easier for you to use Nostr. But what is Nostr?
Yeah, Nostr to me, it represents, it stands for notes and other stuff transmitted by relay. So it's a simple social communications protocol where you can create censorship resistant global social media applications or social applications. And it's a standard basically that multiple people can follow. So part of the problems, with social media is that it has a lot of spam. It's shadow banned people. It removes posts when you get removed from a particular platform. Then you lose your following on that platform. With Nostr, everything is an event, and it can go to multiple computers on the Nostr network. Similar to a Bitcoin node, we have relays in Nostr, so it's kind of akin to something similar. And when you create a node or an event, you send it to multiple of these computers, and it's all verifiable because you're actually creating a signature to prove, hey, I know this private key, I know the secret, and other people can verify it, and then it can be stored on multiple computers. So if one client, or you can think of a client as an app, decides to ban you, your IP or your identifier, whatever, you can go to another client and continue to operate business as usual without losing your following, all of your events. So that's something really powerful about Nostr. And not only can you create like Twitter alternatives and clones, you can build almost like a whole new internet on this protocol. And that's what we're seeing people do. So there's great clients or apps like Flockster. Of course, there's a recipe blog where you can go and post your recipe. There's abla.news, which is great for like a blog style post. So there's so many, it's such a robust protocol similar to Bitcoin. It just has no money or token attached to it. So then you don't have to worry about the other problems that you run into with those.
Well, we're going to come back after this word, and we're going to talk about what we're doing with Nostr, Santos is doing with Nostr at BitBlock Boom. So we'll be right back after this word from our sponsor. And welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Gary Leland. This is the Bitcoin Boomer Show if you're getting here late. And today we're talking with Santos Hernandez about Bitcoin stuff and other stuff. Santos, welcome back. Now, you are heading up our workshops. And the main thing I want to talk about, though, is our Build-a-thon, which we're naming it Hackathon, which is a hackathon on Nostr. And ZBD is one of our sponsors of the hackathon. So I wanted to get all that. So it all kind of adds up now. So tell us about the Build-a-thon, I'm going to call it, because I like that name better than the hackathon. Tell us what's going on with the Build-a-thon. Let's go through that real quick on this episode.
Oh, I'm so excited about the Build-a-thon. It's a great place for people to basically share their ideas that they've been wanting to work on, for a significant amount of time, but maybe haven't executed or a little stuck, or maybe they just thought of it. Our Build-a-thon at BitBlock Boom, Gary, will provide an open arena for people to collaborate, create, and build the future now of Lightning and Nostr sort of deliverables. And a deliverable can be so many different things. You can participate as a designer and produce a design prototype that you built in Figma. You can create like a social media content calendar to help Nostr go viral, or maybe come up with a fun game that can help promote its adoption. Oh, and same with the Bitcoin's Lightning Network as well. So there's room for people that are not developers. If you are a developer, you can definitely build like full applications, proof of concepts, MVPs. And we're looking for specifically applications that are going to be built during a time frame leading up to BitBlock Boom, and then we'll have kind of like the semi-finalist pitch while we're there to potentially win up to about $1,000 in Bitcoin prizes. We'll have categories that you can focus on that we really want to see things built in. So, for example, chat clients or chat applications for fun, Nostr virality, so helping Nostr get brand awareness, help it get general penetration on like social media, existing social media platforms. We're even seeing really cool gaming use cases with games like Satoshi Settlers, a game that Michael Tidwell has been working on. Community, so like maybe how to bootstrap and start a Nostr community. We recently did that here in Nostr Phoenix, as well as like reputation. And you can combine all of these experiences with Bitcoin's Lightning Network because the protocol is interoperable with it, and it empowers creators to monetize their notes, aka their creations, their content, their posts, and much more. So you can kind of infuse money into this as either like helping content creators monetize and get rewarded for what they're doing, or you can use it as a proof of work mechanism where you spend some sats to increase like the rarity of, for example, like a Nostr badge. So those are pretty really cool use cases and what we're looking to do with the build-a-thon. So we're really trying to help get some great sort of deliverables and products built out of this build-a-thon from vast array of different skill sets. And what will the people get? Well, the participants will get reputation, they'll get a shot at the prize pool, glory, they'll get a new community. And every time I've ever participated in a hackathon, I've always grown a ton by learning from the people around me, because this is like your chance to collaborate with people across industries.
So the hackathon or the build-a-thon is going to be great. That's something new to BitBlock Boom this year. So I wanted to make sure and cover that. Also, though, I want to cover, you've been putting together workshops for Friday, Lightning workshops and Nostr workshops, because like I said, people hadn't figured it out yet. We're incorporating a lot of Nostr stuff into the conference this year. Tell us about the workshops, what we're going to have going on Thursday. We have 2 rooms of workshops going. Like I said, one for Nostr and one for Lightning. Let's go over those real quick.
I'm so excited about the workshops. We have a great lineup of speakers. So for the workshops, we will have non-technical and technical workshops, so we can kind of get a mix of different perspectives, different ideas, maybe expose people to things that they may not have seen or experienced before within Bitcoin's Lightning Network or Nostr, for example. So we'll have like presentations, workshops around getting a job in the Bitcoin industry. We'll actually take a look at Satoshi Settlers, which has the ability to log in with Nostr. It accepts Lightning payments and it can pay people out. And it's a really fun sort of building game where you can compete for Bitcoin blocks. Really fun, very interesting. We'll have like building your first Lightning app. We'll look at simulating Lightning Network scenarios with Doppler to understand like, what are the strengths and weaknesses of the Lightning Network as it stands, and really illuminate like a lot of knowledge around that. For Nostr, we're going to have a value for value workshop. We're going to be looking at how to enable Lightning payments everywhere with Nostr Wallet Connect, because those two really go hand in hand and they're extremely synergetic, which is why we'll have these 2 workshop days going together. That was a brilliant idea of yours, Gary, because it's like peanut butter and jelly in a way. They just go so complementary. And then we'll be wrapping up the day with like a live Club Chain Radio with QW and Avi. So we really have some really great workshops. That was only like 50% of the schedule even. So it'll be jam-packed with really valuable education during that workshop day, without a doubt. And I think the audience will find it really interesting.
Well, for anyone who's not familiar, also go to bitblockboom.com. You can see the lineup as it's coming. We're getting ready to start building the schedule tomorrow or this afternoon, probably, for the workshops at least ways. And it is in Dallas, Texas this year. It's been in Austin the last 2 years. So that's something a little new being in Dallas. It's in April. And I guess we're like a week before the happening. I was trying to get as close as I could, but it looks like we're about a week before now. So we're getting pretty good at those blocks would speed up to about 9 minutes. I think I used the Bitcoin time chain calendar the other day, and if the blocks would speed up to 9 minutes, it would happen on April the 11th during our conference. But right now, blocks are running 11 minutes. So we need to speed up pretty damn quick for us to get it during BitBlock Boom. But you've done a great job on the lineup there. One thing real quick, and you only have about a minute and a half of this. We've gone over a couple of things. We did mention Lightning. Would you give us a quick definition on Lightning? I think most of my audience knows what Bitcoin is now, and everybody who's under 50 probably knows what Lightning is. But for those 70-year-olds, what is Lightning?
Yeah, Bitcoin's Lightning Network is kind of like a highway for Bitcoin. You can make Bitcoin move really fast. So normally you need to create a transaction, broadcast it to the network. It takes 10 minutes or so, give or take, 11 minutes right now. As you said, Gary. So then before your transaction could potentially be confirmed and then from there propagated to the rest of the network. So that can take time. Bitcoin's Lightning Network enables Bitcoin to move near instantaneously for low fees with final settlement as well. So transactions can't be reversed. So you can be at a coffee shop buying coffee with Bitcoin. So you can do some really amazing things in person, and that has great advantages for merchants. And you can be online and create brand new experiences with Bitcoin's Lightning Network. And that's what we've done at ZBD, is create a bunch of new experiences around Lightning and doing things that weren't possible before with this programmable money that is moving near real time.
It's exciting stuff there. And I'm kind of excited to go do my ZBD page. I was just thinking, while you were talking, I was thinking about that. We're going to get that done. So you might be prepared for me to send you a text if I find some kind of hang up there I can't get to. But yeah, between the Nostr workshops, the Lightning workshops, the Nostr Build-a-thon, and our regular conference day, I think this year we've really added an extra touch to BitBlock Boom, where our workshops really haven't been workshops in the past. Maybe last year we started making them workshops. Really, they've been like smaller conferences sessions. So this will be a big change for us. And I'm kind of interested to find out about the ones about Nostr even. I want to get more involved with that. Well, we're going to take a break. Word from our sponsor. We'll be right back with our final segment to talk with Santos Hernandez. Be right back. And welcome back to the Bitcoin Boomer Show. I'm your host, Gary Leland. Today we have Santos Hernandez. And welcome back to the show, Santos. I do have a question for you. You were talking in the last segment about Tidwell's game, Satoshi Settlers. Now, I don't know anything about this game, but is this game like Settlers of Catan by any chance, except you can win Bitcoin? Because if it is, I'm playing that because I'm pretty good at Settlers of Catan.
I love Catan. That is such a blast.
Yeah, we play it every time our family gets together.
Almost there. So Satoshi Settlers is still very early. It's an abstract game, but essentially what you can do is you can see the Bitcoin block data in this game, and it's on like an open world map. So you can go around, you can click the blocks, and people can purchase the blocks using Bitcoin's Lightning Network. And it uses like an account, just like an email, no junk coins or anything like that. It's purely for fun. So you can purchase like the Genesis block, for example, and you can also purchase blocks like 21, which is the one that I own. So I focus on like the cool collection, and I think that's the most expensive block in the game right now. And then you can buy multiple blocks simultaneously and set the color.
How much is 21? How much the most expensive block? How much is that? Yes. I mean, you're saying it's the most expensive.
Right now, to buy it for me is 1,000,000 sats. I bought it for 512,000 sats.
Okay, that gives me an idea there. I just wanted an idea. Go ahead then. Sorry to interrupt you.
All good. Thank you for the question.
Yeah, I just was so curious because every time I see that Satoshi Settlers, I'm going, is that Settlers of Catan? Because you can make a copy of a game. You just, you can't copyright a game. So someone could have made it and changed all the items, to be more Bitcoin related, I was thinking. So something I ask everybody, which I did not ask you, is according to Santos Hernandez, what is Bitcoin? I usually asked this earlier, but I'm just curious. What is Bitcoin?
To me, Bitcoin is freedom. Looking at it as a way to have an alternative to the US dollar, to like fiat currencies, ultimately, as well as like a store of value, being able to save for the future, to be able to save to do the things that you really want to do and take risk in your life. That's how Bitcoin worked out for me. For example, I was talking about quitting my job at Bank of America to be able to self-study. And then I eventually started my own agency building web apps and found ZBD. Bitcoin is what gave me the freedom to be able to do that, to have the savings to do that. It ultimately is superior monetary technology as well to the existing system that we have. I worked at American Express on the global data repository team, which also deals with the payment network and bank integrations. And I can say, without a doubt, between Bitcoin's monetary network, the level of decentralization and lack of central control by like one or two entities or few individuals, we don't have that with Bitcoin. We have superior monetary technology on top. We talked about Lightning that can make it move near instantaneously. So not only is it better monetary technology, it's better payments technology. It ultimately represents a community of people that all get it, that all want to build together a better future for not just ourselves, but for our community as a whole, the people around us and the world at large. And I've never really seen another community quite like that. And it represents like what is possible. Like I was talking about earlier, I was very inspired by Satoshi. And what Satoshi was able to learn and build, along with like all of the amazing Bitcoin developers out there, they serve as inspiration to me on like what you can achieve if you work hard enough at it. So that's what Bitcoin is to me. Ultimately, it's freedom, it's ingenuity, it's innovation, it's way bigger than what I even understand it to be right now. There's always something to learn about Bitcoin, so it's an endless learning opportunity. Endless thought experiment for you. So those are all the things that Bitcoin really means to me.
Well, it certainly takes you down a rabbit hole. You're talking about learning. I mean, for example, I didn't even know what fiat was. I'd never heard that word. I'm sure I did, but I never absorbed it until... It's funny, watching TV with my wife, she'll be watching the news and they'll say something that I wouldn't have known before Bitcoin. And I know she doesn't know it because she's just watching it. And I'm going, do you know what they're talking about? And she'll go, no, I don't. And so I'll put it on pause and explain it to her. But I wouldn't have known what they were talking about 10 years ago. It's kind of amazing there. I find that, like I said, Bitcoin just opens up such a wide door for people, once you find out about it. But it's a matter of finding out about it. We only have a couple minutes left, but I think I would be short if, with the day being January the 10th, if I didn't ask, this is the day that the SEC is supposed to either say yes or no to Bitcoin ETFs. What do you think is going to happen here? If you were a betting man and we were betting 1,000,000 sats, which bet are you going to take? That it's going to be approved or it's not going to be approved?
If I were a betting man, I would have bet that it would be approved.
I would bet it would be approved too. So we'll see what happens. I don't think we'll hear about it till after the market's closed, I would think. They usually sneak that stuff in after everything's settled for the day, which I don't know why they would do that for Bitcoin since Bitcoin is open 24 hours a day. I mean, and that's the only thing. I mean, unless you think miners are going to go through the roof or MicroStrategies. Real quick, where can people follow you? Tell us where they can find you, where they can see what you're doing, where they can follow you. Blah, blah, blah.
You can find me on Nostr, of course. You can find me _ at santos.lol. You can find me on X, Santos Hernandez. I have the same handle on LinkedIn, so you can find me there if you prefer to use that. And those are really like the most common platforms that I use. If you just want to like check out more about me, the projects I've worked on, and just find some links, you can go to my website, santos.lol, and from there, you can click those icons at the top, and that'll take you directly to my X account or Twitter, LinkedIn, or GitHub. So you can also see like the projects that I built as a developer too.
Any one project that you, when you sit back and look at everything you've done, that you go, wow, that's the one that you like take the most pride in, is to, God, I'm so glad I did that. That turned out really well, or that was the one that helped me get through other doors.
I would say ZBD. Yeah, ZBD is, I joined as the first product manager about 3 years ago now, and I've had just enormous amounts of growth at this company between, the consumer app, helping build the platform in terms of like product, working with Andre Nevis, who's been a great mentor and leader for me, along with like all of the very talented people that work here. Every person is like a genius. So there's any domain that you're really interested in, whether it be like design, engineering, strategy, marketing, you can learn new perspective, or you can contribute the value that you have, and really get some new experiences, opportunities to deliver. And I really feel like they give you that here. So I've had a lot of opportunities, shipped a lot of projects, and have found unprecedented growth. So for me, it would be ZBD without a doubt. The close second would be the platform that I wrote and built and productized, and Heidi helped me design it, was Emeralize. So I built a lot of really advanced functionality into that platform with split payments, e-commerce on Lightning, and it's like Udemy meets Lightning Network essentially. And I took it one step further with the splits, and I built a functionality called Learn to Earn, which I plan to re-enable here shortly, where you can actually get paid for watching and reading educational articles as a part of a course. So that gave me a lot of growth too.
Fantastic. Santos, I appreciate you coming on the show, and I know I appreciate everything you're doing to help us with BitBlock Boom. Like I said, we'll have our best workshops this year and our first, hopefully, of many build-a-thons this year. Thanks for coming on the show. And if everybody watching, we'll be right back for our close after this word from our sponsor. So do stay tuned, and do me a favor. If you know someone who might be interested in Bitcoin, please refer the show to them. All we do is talk about Bitcoin. I'm not selling them Bitcoin. I have no Bitcoin to sell. So I just want to make sure they know about it. So we'll be right back after this word from our sponsor. And welcome back to the show. I hope you've enjoyed our show today and our interview with Santos. Stephanie, my great producer here, on hand. Stephanie, what did you think about today's show real quick?
I thought it was great. There's a couple of things that I was curious about that you mentioned towards the end, the ETF situation with the SEC. What's that about?
Okay, well, let's get into that real quick. First of all, an ETF is an electronic traded fund. You have ETFs for gold, you have ETFs for platinum, silver, ETFs for all kind of things. Right now, today, on January the 10th, the SEC, the Security Exchange Commission, is going to either approve approximately 12 Bitcoin ETFs or deny 12 Bitcoin ETFs. Most people believe they'll be approved. If they're approved, I don't know how good a thing it is for people, but for the price of Bitcoin, it'll probably be a great thing. So if you own a lot of Bitcoin, chances are you'll be very happy tonight. But it's an electronic traded fund, which means people who don't know how to set up a wallet, who are uncomfortable holding their own Bitcoin, could go on and like Fidelity or wherever they buy their stocks at, and they can invest in Bitcoin. That's the short of it. Regular folks will be able to invest in Bitcoin through their regular broker. So that's your answer to that, Stephanie. I do want to thank everybody for joining us today. And please, I want to make sure you know, we talked about it earlier. Check out My conference, BitBlock Boom at bitblockboom.com. We're in Dallas, Texas this year. This is our 7th year. We're the longest running Bitcoin conference on the planet. So if you're in Dallas, Fort Worth, matter of fact, if you're anywhere in the U.S., you should check it out. It's happening in April 11th, 12th, 13th, and 14th. Also check out my meetup group, BitBlock Barbecue. Bitblockboom.com. Where's my meetup group at? I can't remember the name of it sometimes. We do a barbecue once a month.
The meetup.com.
Okay, meetup.com/bitblockboom. Thank you. We do a meetup every month in Dallas, Texas. So go to meetup.com/bitblockboom and join that today. Also want to make sure you know about my book I wrote, Bitcoin and the American Dream. Check out Bitcoin and the American Dream at bitblockboom.com/books. And that's really the main things I wanted to get out today. I want to make sure everybody knew about these items. I want to make sure you know about Bitcoin. So if you know anyone that you think, I said this earlier, if you know anyone you think has an interest in Bitcoin, please share this show with them. That's all we're trying to do is educate everybody. So if Bitcoin does become what many of us think it's going to become, maybe your friends will be more prepared because they'll have a basic understanding of what Bitcoin is. That's the key, is understanding Bitcoin. There's even a book, I think, Understanding Bitcoin, because that is a very important key. Until next week, I want to say thanks for watching the show. Look forward to seeing you again, and have a good one and stack those sats.